Welcome once again. In this session, we'll try to learn about different ways as to how OERs can be integrated with respect to science education. Now, this is going to be a part 1. It will be followed by part 2. We have already seen what is science and science education. Now, we all know that science is a dynamic field and it continuously changes, it evolves and keeps on getting updated, upgraded from time to time. We also know that mono-methodological approach and instructor-dominating teaching approach actually does not impart science education in the much more required and the needed way, probably because it lacks a little bit of creativity. It also restricts the use of creative tools in teaching. Now, this does not actually helps developing the enthusiasm amongst the students so as to make them learn science in the way that it should be learned. However, teaching with OERs is contradiction towards traditional teaching, and it also makes the teacher to use more innovative methods in teaching. It actually also ensures that the learners are also involved and participative in nature. It helps to develop their creativity as well as their quality of exploring and self-learning. Now, when OERs are used in teaching, we can definitely overcome the various challenges which we face with respect to science education. Let us look at the different ways to integrate OERs in science education. Now, basically there are 8 steps to OER integration and it goes into this sequence. First, we need to assess the validity and reliability of the OER in concern. Second, we need to determine the placement within the curriculum if we have not done it already. Now note that some OER integrations may be abandoned at this point if the OER relates poorly to the rest of the curriculum. That means you have to identify exactly where does it fit into your curriculum. Very important, the third point, that is we need to check for license compatibility. The next step, that is the fourth step, is to eliminate extraneous content within the OER, assuming that the license permits derivatives. The fifth step is to identify the specific areas of localization. Sixth, remix with other educational materials if it is applicable. Now you have to understand whether it can be remixed or not. Seventh, determine the logistics of using the OER within the lesson. Say for example, you may need to print handouts for learners and in some cases special software may be needed. And the eighth and the last method, devise a method of evaluation or whether the currently planned evaluation needs adjustments or not. The first step and the most important steps with respect to integration of OER is to assess the validity and reliability of the OER. This is first and foremost important step for integrating OERs in science education. Why? Because you need to check the validity of the OERs, whether that particular OER is valid for you or not, and if it is valid, then only you can use the OERs as per your requirement. Say for example, if you want to teach Newton's law of motion, then the OER should actually demonstrate Newton's law of motion and should not be misleading and trying to explain something else. The second part is reliability of an OER. OERs should be reliable and should be taken only from an authentic source. One has to take utmost care that the OER that is taken is actually correct as per the topic. Now this will help to disseminate quality education to the learners because the authenticity of the OER is very high. That means it is a very reliable OER. Say for example, the OERs should correctly explain Newton's law of motion and the explanation should be absolutely reliable. The second step is to determine the placement of the OER within the curriculum. That means whether it fits the framework of the curriculum or not. So while developing the curriculum, one should consider the placement of OERs, importance of OERs, and what the developer wants to achieve from that particular OER. Now, why curriculum developers should ensure this is because once the curriculum is being developed, one should always look out for resources that can support the curriculum. So, while using OERs, the instructor or the course developer should definitely see to it where the OERs should be used. That means it should be applicable to which particular content. Now this step is crucial because some OER integration may be abandoned at this point if that relates poorly to the rest of the curriculum. That means curriculum developers can actually determine and decide when to use the OER. Now the third step, which is again a very important step, is to check for the license compatibility. We have seen with respect to the compatibility chart as to which license is compatible with which other licensing category. So we know that it is very important with respect to development of an OER. So one should first check whether there is an availability of an OERs or not. And in case an OER is available, one should also find out it comes under which kind of category of license. See, for example, we get an OER which is available with CC0 license. Then there is no problem to use it, modify it, remix or tweak it as per our requirement. However, in contrast to CC0, in copyright licenses we cannot use it for any purpose. In case we do use it, there is a probability that we may attract legal problem. So there are different licenses like CC BY, CC BY SA, CC BY SAND, etc. wherein we can use the OERs for our use as long as we attribute the original author. We had spoken about attribution. So all the 6 licenses require attributing the original author. Thus, license compatibility is also very important while integrating OERs for science education. One should definitely keep this in mind. The next step is to eliminate extraneous content within the OER. Now what exactly do we look for here? Many a time it happens that the available OERs is good, but rather our requirement is a part of it. So we need to eliminate the extra content from that OER and just take the relevant part that we may require. It's like tweaking or trimming it out as per our requirement. See, for example, Mendelian law has 3 laws: the law of segregation, the law of independent assortment and the law of dominance. And probably we come across an OER which incorporates all the 3 laws of Mendelian genetics. But maybe we want only an OER for one law out of the 3. Then what we can do is we can eliminate or probably truncate it in such a way that we come across only that part, which law that we are looking at. Now changing any part of OER that may be revised, remixed, may require a certain license which allows formation of derivatives. So licensing attribution is absolutely important. If the OERs comes with derivative license, then only one can make any modifications in the OER, or else it is not allowed. So one has to take care when one comes out with derivative works, what licensing is given. In the coming video, we'll be looking at the other steps of OER integration so that you get a complete picture about the different ways of integrating OERs in science education. Thank you.